Basketball fans, welcome back. So the Philadelphia 76ers will attempt to trade away Paul George this upcoming summer. So Paul George will be in the trading block for the Sixers this offseason. So let's just talk about this. So Paul George with his podcast P has aged poorly, and even less than a year since he signed that max deal of 4 year, 212 million. The Sixers saw who they got, and they are not happy at all. And in this video, we're just going to take a deep dive into what led to this, and just clarify a few points that we saw throughout the whole season in podcast P, the whole thing where he has more podcast episodes than games played. And at some point, he had more podcast uploads than points scored. So that was crazy. So less than a full year after signing Paul George, the Philadelphia 76ers are just about ready to move on from him once and for all. So according to NBA insider Sam Amico, the franchise will be looking for a new home for Paul George after another disappointing season. So the Sixers will try to trade small forward Paul George this summer, and some members of the Sixers wanted George traded at the NBA deadline. So according to Sam Amico, the insider, I mean, even they tried to trade him at the trade deadline. That's how bad it was, because when PG he got axed and got the boot by the Clippers saw that they couldn't rely on Paul George at all. And given like the way this guy conducts himself, especially on the court, off the court, that whole podcast situation. So this is not a guy who's actually serious, and they even hesitated in giving him that max deal, similar to what Kawhi Leonard got with a no trade clause. So there was no way the Clippers are going to give this guy $150 million for 3 seasons with a no trade clause. Just similar to like what other people are getting, especially like somebody like Kawhi Leonard. So Kawhi Leonard was established. That's why it was easy for the Clippers to keep Kawhi Leonard and let PG walk. So PG walked, and he got his new home in the Sixers. And it's the Sixers are now regretting that max deal that they gave PG, because whatever they gave this guy, whatever money they gave this guy, it's not it's not translating to the his play on the court, because they gave him a $212 million contract extension and it's not paying off. So unlike the Mavericks and Lakers, who made major changes at the deadline, the 76ers stayed the same despite a failing season. So right now they are 13 in the East with a 22-43 record. It seems fans and team executives agree that changes need to be made. While this season may be lost, you will have a chance to rebuild in the summer and make amends for their mistakes. So after the ascension of Joel Embiid in a fully fledged superstar through the past years, the 76ers committed everything to building a team around him that will compete for a title. So since taking the job as the GM for the team, Daryl Morey has cycled through various co-stars, which featuring Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, and James Harden, in an attempt to make it work, but nothing has happened. No, we've not even seen a Eastern Conference Finals appearance from this Sixers team. So last summer, Daryl Morey made the horrendous decision of signing Paul George as Embiid's latest partner, but the results have been less than ideal. So in 41 games in the season, Paul George has averaged 16.2 points, 5.3 boards, and 4.3 assists per game on 43% shooting from the Sixers. So this season, George has been playing like a role player, but he's paid like a premium superstar. So not too many players are able to earn $50 million a year, which is something that PG is making, and he's playing like somebody who is earning a vet minimum salary at best. I can even say a low-level, mid-level exception of about $3 million. So that's his output. His output is $3 million a year, but he's getting paid $50 million a year. So Paul George, he was supposed to be a reliable option to keep the team afloat without Joel Embiid, but instead he is one of the biggest problems the Sixers have had all season long. So to make the situation even worse, Paul George is currently on the first year of a 4-year, $212 million contract, which includes a $56.5 million player option for the 2027 to 2028 season. So, man, the Sixers screwed themselves up a good one. So At 34 years of age and coming off his worst season of the decade, the question still remains: which team will even trade for Paul George, knowing the full scope of his flaws and the massive NBA contract? Because teams right now are looking towards a rebuild, and teams do not want to take on such a bad contract. And moving down the line, you're going to see PG is going to be one of the most overpaid players in the league, and I don't even think that his contract is worth a buyout because he's going to get paid for like the next 10 to 15 years given the contract that he signs. So after failed stint with the Pacers, Thunder, Clippers, and Sixers, there's significant doubt that PG at his stage of his career can play a meaningful role on a championship team. So Pacers PG was the best. So Paul George, when he played for the Pacers, the man was a beast. He went to multiple Eastern Conference Finals. Most notable was that 2013 one where he took the Miami Heat Big Three with LeBron James, D Wade, and Bosh to 7 games. That's the closest the man has been to the conference finals. So, okay, he can even make the argument that yes, the man did make it to the conference finals in 2021, but still the Clippers are not able to get the job done. So against the Suns at the time in 2021. So that's the closest he has ever been. That was game 6. So still, there are a few teams reported to have some interest, including the Atlanta Hawks and the Golden State Warriors. I'm not sure if the Golden State Warriors really want PG because they already have Jimmy Butler and also Draymond Green. So there's no need. So if George can accept a more minor role on these rosters, it could be the key to turning his current trajectory around. But unfortunately, he's going to accept a lesser role, but he's receiving a max deal. So that's crazy. So alongside Trae Young and the Hawks, George could thrive as a 3-and-D shooter on the wing with a co-star who has much greater playmaking potential. So, I mean, PG's contract is the reason as to why a lot of teams are just going to like pull away from even trying to trade for him. So in Golden State, if PG goes to Golden State, George could add another layer of depth in the backcourt and act as a mimic of Klay Thompson on the perimeter. So while he's not nearly as consistent as a shooter, PG will be playing in very little pressure as the third option under Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler. So that was actually crazy because, man, I mean, the man, we are just seeing the decline of this man. And the Sixers made the horrendous decision of giving this guy a $212 million extension, which is a max deal, which is, it's crazy. It's actually beyond me. So if not, the Sixers may be stuck with Paul George for the time being, which means they may have no choice but to run it back with the same trio of stars. So unless the Sixers trade Joel Embiid or Maxey, they will not be an easy route to shake another roster. They will not be an easy route to shake up the roster in a meaningful way. So, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, we have Pandemic P, Paul George, Podcast P, somebody who is a liability on both offense and defense. He's currently averaging role player numbers, and I can even say the man is just past his prime. Somebody who is a total waste. And even saw a report saying that Paul George suspended his podcast to focus on the 76ers' unlikely playoff run. So, I mean, this man, I can say Paul George is a shell of his former self. This man has single-handedly ruined his own career. And I don't think there's a way that a PG can be able to bounce back. And I feel like it's time to throw in the towel on PG. I must say, I enjoyed his time when he played for the Pacers because Pacers PG is who I remember most. But what he has been able to do in the recent years, especially when he's playing for the Clippers, right now the Sixers, it's bad. I mean, you know things are bad when the Sixers want to trade you at the trade deadline, and you're in like you've signed a 4-year max deal, and you have barely even finished a year, but they still want to get rid of you. So that is how PG has been poor for the Sixers. And the Sixers really thought that they would have a saving grace when Joel Embiid is injured. They can still say that they still have a superstar on the team, somebody who can be able to assist them in carrying the load. But unfortunately, even there are role players in the NBA that play better than him. And it's sad because looking at this man's contract and looking at his output on the court, it's not something that a lot of franchises would like to have, especially on their books. So it is what it is. So do drop me your comments down in the comment section what you think about this whole situation. I mean, I'll be following Paul George sweepstakes with things unfolding, but hey, it is what it is. So I'm loving the support on this channel. Like, share, subscribe. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace out.